Today, we are calling out 5 football cleat brands that are wasting your money and revealing 3 that actually earn what they charge. Let's go over the brands you need to stop buying. The Nike Vapor Edge Pro 360. 2. The cleat most football players want. The cleat that fits about half of them correctly. Nike has held the exclusive NFL uniform contract since 2012. That contract means their logo is on every player, every field, every broadcast. The Vapor Edge rides that visibility harder than any other product in their lineup. It retails for $160 to $180. The fit runs narrow, significantly narrow, in a sport where half the players do not have narrow feet. But right now, the Vapor Edge has a problem the marketing does not mention. Players with normal to wide feet report discomfort within the first quarter of real game action. Multiple independent reviews flag durability issues with the upper after extended use at the high school and college level. Until you realize what this means for the $170 you just spent. Nike built the Vapor Edge for players whose feet happen to fit Nike's last. For everyone else, you are wearing a cleat engineered for the camera, not the field. Nike knows the fit runs narrow. The cleat has carried that complaint for multiple product generations. They kept the last and kept the price. You are not buying the fastest cleat in football. You are buying the most marketed one. The field cannot tell the difference. The Jordan 1 football cleat. A basketball shoe with studs on the bottom. That is the complete engineering story, and it retails at $160 to $200. Nike has been putting the Air Jordan 1 silhouette on football cleats for years. The design is iconic. The colorways are clean, and the content it generates on social media is significant. Players wear it because it looks like the AJ1, because the Jordan brand carries cultural weight that no football-specific engineering ever has. But right now, the Jordan 1 football cleat is a basketball shoe engineered backward. The AJ1 was built for hardwood, lateral movement, jumping, and landing. The football version adapts that platform for grass and turf traction. What it cannot do is replicate what a cleat built specifically for football movement delivers from the ground up. Until you realize the studs are the only football-specific thing about it. The midsole is not tuned for the cut and drive pattern of a skill player. The upper is not built for the lateral forces a defensive back generates on press coverage. Independent comparisons consistently rank it below purpose-built cleats at the same price for traction, lockdown, and energy return. Jordan designed the AJ1 for hardwood. Nike put studs on it. You are paying a basketball legend tax to play football. The Adidas Adizero 12.0 Prime Knit. The lightest football cleat available. The one that feels like wearing nothing. The one multiple reviewers call the fastest cleat they have ever put on their feet. Every word of that is true. And none of it is the full story. The Adizero 12.0 achieves its weight through an ultra-thin Prime Knit upper that wraps the foot like a second skin. It is exceptional for the first 6 to 8 weeks. After that, multiple user reports across Amazon and independent equipment review sites flag the same issue. The upper breaks down at stress points. The lateral edge where cuts happen, the toe box where linemen generate ground force, the heel collar on acceleration. But right now, a cleat that needs replacing twice in a season is not a performance purchase. It is a subscription. The Adizero 12.0 is genuinely fast. It is also genuinely disposable. At $130 to $160 per pair, you are not buying a cleat. You are buying a cleat and the replacement you will need before the season ends. The Under Armour Highlight MC is the cleat that built Under Armour's football credibility during a decade when they were challenging Nike for market share at every position. When it launched, the Highlight MC was legitimately excellent. It delivered ankle support without sacrificing mobility, offered confident traction, and came at a price that made it accessible to programs that could not afford Nike's premium tier. But right now, Under Armour has moved on. The Highlight MC is 3 to 4 product generations behind their current flagship cleats. The Blur Smoke, the Spotlight, and the Clone are all more recent and more engineered, and they are available at comparable or lower prices. The Highlight MC is still on the shelf. It is still priced at $100 to $130. It is still carrying the credibility it earned 4 years ago. Until you realize brand loyalty is what Under Armour is selling with the Highlight, not current technology. The Highlight cost Under Armour less to manufacture than the Blur Smoke. It still moves units on name recognition. Under Armour has every incentive to keep it on the shelf and zero incentive to tell you it is outdated. Under Armour built better cleats than the Highlight. The player still wearing it is the last to know. If you have been watching and have not subscribed yet, here's the honest pitch. We cover what the equipment industry does not put in the marketing materials. Subscribe. The next cleat on this list is the one most youth players are wearing right now because their parents bought it based on the price. And the 3 worth it brands include the cleat Tyreek Hill chose to wear, not because of a contract, but because it is the fastest thing on the market. Hit the button. Generic brand football cleats. The $40 to $70 option on Amazon. The ones that show up in the results when parents search for youth football cleats and sort by price. They have brand names, football language in the listing, molded cleats, traction plate, breathable upper. The product page looks like a real football product, but right now, a generic cleat at $45 has no position-specific engineering, no meaningful traction plate, no tested safety data, no fit technology. It is a shoe with studs that happens to photograph well enough to move units. Until you realize what the cheapest cleat actually costs. A cleat with no ankle support that rolls under lateral pressure is not a bargain. It is an ankle sprain waiting for game week. A cleat that loses traction on wet grass is removing the one thing a cleat is supposed to provide. A generic Amazon cleat opts out of every engineering decision the equipment industry spent decades making. The price reflects that. The field reflects it faster. A parent who buys a $45 cleat to save $80 is not saving $80. They are one awkward cut on wet grass from an emergency room visit that costs more than every cleat on this list combined. If you are buying cleats for a youth player based on Amazon price alone, you are choosing the cheapest option in the one category where the cheapest option costs the most. Now, 3 brands that actually earn what they charge. The Nike Alpha Menace Elite. 3. The cleat Nike built for power positions, while the marketing department was busy with the Vapor Edge, priced at $100 to $130. Worn by Derrick Henry, the most physically punishing running back in the NFL by choice. The Alpha Menace Elite 3 does not generate the content. It has no social presence and no broadcast visibility. But here is what the broadcast does not show you. What it has is a wide last fit that accommodates real foot shapes, a stable X-frame sole that holds ground on cuts and drives, and a synthetic leather upper that holds through a full season of contact. The Vapor Edge is built for players who need to arrive first. The Alpha Menace is built for players who need to win when they get there. Different positions, different physics, different cleat. Independent reviews consistently rate the Alpha Menace Elite 3 above the Vapor Edge for linemen, tight ends, linebackers, and running backs who prioritize staying on the field over outright speed. Nike builds the Vapor Edge for the marketing. They built the Alpha Menace for the players who need to stay on the field. The Adidas Adizero Electric, the fastest football cleat with the durability the 12.0 Prime Knit sacrificed. It is priced at $110 to $140. It is worn by Tyreek Hill, the fastest player in the NFL, not because his contract requires it, but because independent speed testing backs the choice. But here is what the Adizero Electric does that the 12.0 does not. It keeps the weight savings while using a meaningfully more durable upper construction. Speed without the subscription. Durability holds through a full season without the breakdown patterns that plague the 12.0. Adidas chose not to spend on broadcast exclusivity, and they chose not to buy the NFL sideline the way Nike did. That money stayed in the cleat. The Adizero Electric costs less than the Vapor Edge and outperforms it in independent speed testing for skill position players. Tyreek Hill is the fastest man in the NFL. He chose Adizero. The cleat does not know it is not supposed to beat Nike. The Under Armour Blur Smoke 2.0. Independent reviews in 2025 and 2026 rank it among the top speed cleats available. It costs $83 to $120. That is $20 to $50 less than comparable Nike options for the same position. Under Armour did not buy the NFL broadcast. They did not pay for the Jordan brand extension. They did not sponsor the sideline. They built the Blur Smoke instead, a chrome traction plate, a lightweight synthetic upper, a knit collar for sock-like lockdown, and a center chine that delivers cutting traction without added weight. Worn by NFL players by choice, not contract. It accommodates wider feet, the category that Nike's narrow last consistently fails. The data backs it at every position where speed is the requirement. Under Armour charges $120. Nike charges $160 for the same position. The gap in price is not matched by a gap in performance. One of them knows this. 5 brands charging you for visibility, 3 brands charging you for performance. The data does not agree with the marketing. When Tyreek Hill chooses the Adizero and Derrick Henry chooses the Alpha Menace, they are telling you the same thing. The cleat the broadcast shows you is not always the cleat that performs. Know what you are paying for before you pay for it. The game deserves better than the marketing. Leave a comment and tell me which cleat you are in right now. See you in the next one.